Shalom, Shavua Tov. I hope you are well. Just a week away from Chanukah. I hope you're as excited as I am. So there's a peculiar paradox about Chanukah. On the one hand, it seems that Chanukah is a new beginning. The word itself, Chanukah, comes from Chanukat HaMizbeach, the inauguration of the altar of the temple. After the Greeks ransacked the temple, the Maccabean revolt allowed us to return to the temple and restart our worship there. We see this paralleled in the lighting of candles. There's, in fact, a machloket, a dispute in the Gemara between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel as to whether we begin, as we are familiar with one candle and conclude with 8, or alternatively, Beit Shammai proposes that we begin with 8 and conclude with 1. Now, our tradition, like Beit Hillel, clearly teaches that this is a new beginning. We begin with 1, we rise to 8 each day, adding on a new start. On the other hand, it seems that Chanukah is in fact a conclusion. We see this in a number of ways. Firstly, Chanukah is only celebrated at night. We do sing the Hallel during the day, but otherwise the entire ritual of Chanukah is in the evening after sundown, after Tzedek Kochavim, night's fall. We see this too in the fact that Chanukah is the only holiday that happens at the end of the month. All other holidays are in the beginning or in the middle of the month, but never do we see a holiday that starts in the second half of the month, as we do here in Chanukah, in the month of Kislev. Thirdly, in the more mystical works of our tradition, Chanukah is said to be the chotam shebechotam, the concluding element of a long process that began all the way back in Elul and Tishrei, a process of tshuva. You may not have thought of it this way, and I wouldn't have either, but our sages teach us that Chanukah is in fact a conclusion of the process of tshuva, of return, of repentance that began so many months ago. Now, why that exactly is, we'll be looking more into in just a week when we begin our course, Healing Light. I hope you'll join us. But we see from these 3 elements that Chanukah is indeed a conclusion. So what is it? Is Chanukah a start, a restart, a re-inauguration, beginning anew? Or is it a conclusion? Is it closing out? Is it a dying down? Is it quieting? Now, as in any good synthesis, we'll find that this contradiction is not indeed a contradiction. If we look at all of these concluding elements, nighttime, the month, the end of the month, and tshuva and repentance, we find that none of them are a conclusion alone. They each hold within it a new beginning. Now, nighttime, we know, from the beginning of Breshit, the beginning of Torah, is the beginning of day. Vahi erev, vahi boker, yom sheni. Every day begins with night, and only then transitions to day. The day does not end with night, but the night ends with day. Now, we also see this in the fact that Chanukah begins at the end of the month. Indeed it does, but it also transitions into the start of a new month, into Tevet. So it straddles both the end and the beginning. Indeed, the end is also the start of the new beginning. And this is true of tshuva, of course, as well. Tshuva is not just about lamenting about the past, but it's about starting anew, clean and fresh, for a new beginning. Rabbi Nachman has a beautiful teaching that relates to this month of Kislev and to the mitzvah of Chanukah, the holiday of Chanukah. Rabbi Nachman teaches that sleep is an essential element of any new beginning. And in fact, Kislev is deeply tied in with the faculty of sleep. It is the chush of Kislev. It's known to be the sense of Kislev, sleep. Now, sleep, Rabbi Nachman says, is an essential component of any new beginning. What does that mean? What do we do when we go to sleep? Let's say you want a young baby to go to sleep. Just put him down in the carriage and say, yeah, go to sleep. Sleep requires a deep trust, presence, and calmness. We sing songs, we tell stories. Imagine if that's how we related to ourselves every time we wanted to start anew. Every time we experienced darkness, every time we made a mistake, every time we had a fall and we wanted to get back up. If rather than just pushing ourselves to start anew, get back out there, go for it, you can do it, forget about the past. if instead we tried to really deeply be present with the past and cause it to sleep, cause it to come into deep relaxation, to feel that we're fully present with it, such that it can fully trust us to be able to wake up anew the next day. I want to bless us as we go into Chanukah, that we're able to truly celebrate the night, celebrate the sleep, celebrate being with the brokenness, being with the darkness, and to trust that indeed that deep presence will lead soon into light, but to not rush it, to not rush that light, to really be present with the night, with the end of the month, and then we'll get to restart from there. Chanukah Sameach, wishing you a beautiful, light-filled holiday.